Welcome back to Lynx's channel, everybody. We're sitting here once again with Mike and Mike, and today we want to talk more about play to earn in terms of getting the money on and off. Really talk about the viability of it. Mike, are you ready to get into it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we're starting to see a lot in today's world. I mean, what's happening in the global situation has certainly created a lot of uncertainty for people, and there's a drive, I think, for people to feel continuity, to feel that there is a place which is rapidly becoming our metaverse, a place where we can kind of control our environments and we can grow and do things. And as we're starting to see that, a lot of the conversation that we're hearing and then we're starting to talk to some of our people and potential customers and people interested in the service is, how does this become real and how do I start moving this into my day-to-day life, and where are we going with it?
Agreed. So like from there, like it comes down to, again, that point of connection between the digital and the real world. Like that has to be solidified for the digital to matter, for the people playing these games to actually bring the money into the real world and take advantage of it. So talk to me about that side of things.
Yeah, so what we're seeing a lot of it is, and then all this technology, what typically happens is we have a vision of where the world is going. And what we've seen with NFTs and metaverse is really nothing new that we don't see in a normal cycle, right? We get the collectibles involved, we get different elements of it, things that essentially operate outside of a regular economic structure. And then we start putting the building blocks together. So, things like the different crypto-based custody companies are now starting to look at NFTs and how they hold those in custody. That's a very important step. How do I hold my NFT? How do I create my asset? Even the jumping from an NFT to a token to the actual asset value itself and the trading of it and moving it. So now I think what we're starting to see and have a lot of visibility towards is what people are going to start doing with NFTs in a utility based. I mean, we're starting to see some stuff about people doing lending against metaverse property. We're starting to see all these different elements. So we jump into the play to earn world. And, recently, markets like Argentina have now become leaders in this space as well. So you've got what we see in the Philippines and Vietnam, Southeast Asia, which is, has been a leader and kind of established itself. Brazil is really taking off, countries that have crazy volatility in pricing. Argentina is the same way. So you're getting this massive activity of individuals saying, like I said before, I want to come into I want to have some continuity in my life. I want to have some continuity in my earning. I want to have some continuity in my ability to control where I'm doing it. And this is really happening in the play to earn space. So then the issue is, I've got to plug it into my life. I got to plug it into how I buy and I sell and I get activities. And that's been difficult. This is an area that we focus on. At the end of the day, at Lynx, we're really focused on. We're not the sexy guys, we're the boring guys. We put the pieces together to allow things to happen. That's a little bit older, so that's where we focus. But really what it needs to happen is in these markets, at the end of the day, you have a bank, you have a card, you have a payment system, and then on top of that, you have the ability to convert and move it out. And I think that's where the exciting stuff is happening, and that's what we're starting to look at.
Yeah. So in your point of view, then play to earn isn't going anywhere. In fact, it's only going to get stronger and easier for people as this infrastructure actually gets built out strongly.
Absolutely. So, yeah, what we're seeing, if you do follow, companies like Axie Infinity that have gone quite up, and now, you see that they're coming off a little bit, but what they're really doing is they're now going to evolve their universes into different elements. I think they've even made some press releases to that effect, right? Now you're going to start seeing new games. So you're going to see an element of new play to earn activities that are going to start churning. Certain games are going to have much shorter life cycles. They're going to be activities. People are going to be a bit more mercenary about that. And you're going to have large environments, right? And those large environments, and that's where you start seeing the metaverse activity, because those large environments are now going to connect. Was that we just had the fashion shows that are happening with Gucci and that kind of stuff, where everybody, these are global brands that are moving in and seeing value. Now they have to interact, you have to buy. And so our vision and things that the team's working on is, if I go to that fashion show, if I go there and I say, and I want to buy a product, how does that product show up in my house? How does, how do I do it if I want to buy it, I want to share it with others, or how do I do these different things? And at the end of the day, you need to have that connection. So making that payment, going into the metaverse, you and I, we talked about remittance before, where we close the loop. We come and we take, I come to see you, I go to the store, I buy something, I get confirmation, it shows up in my house. Those things need to be completed. And that's what we're excited about and where we've been spending time on the foundation for.
Yeah, so curious, how far do you think things are going to get here in 2022? It seems like it's picking up speed fast. Off camera, you had mentioned watching Ready Player One again, and it seemed a little bit less out of reach now, right?
No, absolutely. I mean, there's two things. I was flying back from the Philippines, and I took the time to watch that movie again, and there was two things that have changed, since I watched it a few years ago. One is, sadly, is the world being at a point of much more serious situation and conflicts that we're in right now. That's obviously become much more real, and the possibility of things going very badly is much more in our face, and something we live with. The other part is the technology is moving. So now we can see it, we can feel it, that's happening. I think this year, 2022, I mean, we're still very much in an experiment phase, but I've been really surprised at the speed with which, the real things have been happening. So there's a lot of comparison that people have made to what the dot-com days were like and how this is like the dot-com. It's not really entirely. I mean, certainly a lot of it feels like it, the hype, let's run up, let's buy a piece of land, is like, let's get a domain name. What is different about then is the business models weren't defined, and the large companies weren't kind of moving into the same way. Yes, they're getting websites, but we're starting to see revenue generated, right? We didn't see revenue generated in the dot-com days. This is much more like when the Facebook came out with their app and we all sat around and said, what is an influencer? That business model seemed bizarre to us, and yet that world has taken off and hasn't slowed down at all. So if you take what's happening in that world, the large corporations, the sponsorships, the different, the sports and all that kind of stuff, and seeing immediate value, and they are seeing value, so that's one thing. Then you see the play to earn space, the other side of the market, right? People in the countries like the Philippines, in Argentina, in places where they don't have the flexibility and the freedom, and now finding a way to earn. They're now finding a way to, have a currency and have a value that is outside of the volatility they experience from the government and their national stuff. Those are real things. I think those things are having an organic growth that are taking off. So I think that's going to run in 2022. I think the building blocks and the infrastructure we're talking about, I mean, there's lots of exciting stuff happening. I was talking about with custody, what we're doing on the payment side, how it moves it in. And then it's just kind of how we connect those things. Every metaverse has got to connect to another metaverse. Everything has to connect back to, a card or a payment method that has to plug back into, Amazon or somebody else. If you're in Korea, Coupang or Grab or whatever, all that stuff has to connect. That's going to be a lot of work. But I think it's moving quickly.
Very well said, Mike. It sounds like we have a bright future in the metaverse. I hope to see you all there. I'm sure we will meet in the metaverse one day, everybody. But for now, Mike, thank you again for joining. Any last words before we go? Anything else you want to add?
No, it's things are changing quickly, and I think in the last time since we spoke, the world has changed dramatically. I think the thing that's exciting is that people are still trying to connect. They're still trying to create their own worlds and drive forward. And I'm excited by what we see. I'm excited by what we see in places like the Philippines where these economies are driving on their own. So this is what's really cool for me. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, Mike, I look forward to our next chat. Thank you for watching, everybody. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to submit them below, and stay tuned for another video coming soon. And Mike, have a wonderful day.
All right, you too. Thank you very much.